Welcome to the Trustbound Podcast. All right, another beautiful day and another amazing guest for another episode of the Trustbound Podcast. This time around with my great friend Guillermo Arenas. Um, I won't spoil it for you. Actually, I guess I will spoil it. So Guillermo, in a way, is the mastermind without knowing that he was the mastermind behind everything that has uh, just, I guess, snowballed into what itogai is today. If you caught episode 2 with Tomás Uribe, the CEO of Mavity, um, Guillermo was the friend in question that put us in touch. And in that episode, if you haven't caught the episode, we talk about how Tomas and I met, and and of course we talk about Memo, and now here he is. Thanks,
Thank
Memo,
you for having
for
me.
yeah, no, thank you for being here. So I guess tell us a little bit about you, and and what you do at HubSpot.
Sure. Again, thank you for having me. It was a pleasure connecting you and Tomas, two of the most amazing people that I've met throughout my career. Both you both have a lot of things in common. You have grit, which is like the most common thing that I see between you two. Like relentless. You guys, if you have your mind focused on something, that's where you're gonna get one way or another. So it just made sense for me to connect you two, and happy that it's gotten to where it is. About myself, I am originally from Colombia. I have a business and marketing background, business administration, and a master's degree in marketing. I've lived in quite a few places. I've lived in Texas and New York, of course, Bogota, where I'm from, and I've been living in Boston for the past 10 years now. Yeah, it's been 10 years. It's gonna be 10 years this year. So yeah, I've been here and there. Always excited to make connections, meet people. So that's one of the most important things that I think you can do when you're like moving around, either cities, companies, etc. At HubSpot, so this is my second stint at HubSpot. I worked at HubSpot from 2018 until 21. Left in 21. Kind of did my own thing, doing business consulting, go to market consulting, customer success, fractional or project based. So I was doing a lot of things, and then I came back to HubSpot almost a year to the date. Um, and I've always worked in the partner program. So I was a channel consultant for the LatAm team back in the day. Back then, the channel consultant team of the partner team was under customer success. Now I am a partner development manager. 2 years ago, HubSpot decided to combine two roles, channel account manager. They worked under sales and the channel consultants into one. They merged those two roles into one, and now we report to sales. So we're under the sales umbrella. So as a PDM, what I do is I coach my partners. I'm their main point of contact at HubSpot. Anything that they need, they go through me. Either I do, I solve the things for them, or I point them in the right direction. Bring anybody who might help them with what they need, help them scale their business, develop pipeline. Something that I tell them is like, don't consider me just as a HubSpot liaison. Consider me as your own consultant, business consultant. Let's talk about your business first, and then we can see where the tool makes sense. So, when one of the most important things for me is building relationships with my partners. It's without talking too much about it. Comparing this role versus like a customer success role. Usually in customer success, you have a relationship with somebody within a team of a bigger company. They are part of a team. Yes, they care. Yes, they work for that company as part of the team. But the thing that I've gotten to know with about the partner program, and one of the things that I love the most about working with these partners is that they're smaller companies. Most of the times, you work directly with the founders, with the owners, and you can really feel the impact that like your work makes in their day to day. Not that you can't see it in customer success, but it's like a second, third, or fourth degree of that impact. Here, it's like you're impacting the livelihood of founders, of like working with them alongside them. Like you share their pains, their wins, and you kind of feel it like your own. So that's why I really like the partner program.
Oh, dude, that to me, that screams. And even, when I think about my background, because my background has been more on the sales side, more on the, direct side of the house. But funny enough, I just have a not just deep respect, but appreciation and love for partner programs and partners themselves, because, um, so when I was at HubSpot, that's like working very closely with partners. That is what separated, like, a good sales process from a great sales process, and a good implementation from a great implementation, and a good client from a great client, and a happy client from a happy-est
Yeah,
client, right? So I feel that partners are absolutely, um, mission critical. And even from my role, I remember that, and I even talk about this, it's all about, that relationship compounding, right?
yeah,
And I think that uh, you hit the nail on the head, when you talked about not just, your role as a PDM, but overall how, in your role you're helping, business leaders and people thrive, and the fact that relationships and trust is so, I guess, central to that is quite refreshing to hear from the
yeah,
other side of the aisle, when I've lived in sort of like sales and direct, for most of my career. So when you think about like partners themselves, and sort of that relationship compounding that happens, and I you know when I think about partners, and when I think about like working with partners, I like to say that it's like a win-win-win scenario, right? The the business win, sort of like the provider win. So the let's for simplicity purposes, let's keep it at like tech companies. So
yeah,
Salesforce wins, and HubSpot wins, and Datadog wins, yada yada. And then the partner wins, right? Because they can, provide services on top of that software subscription that's being sold. And then the client wins because they get a great solution and a great, services company helping them just bridge the gap. Because, typically these solutions, they have so many use cases that it's just much easier to just hire a partner and like work with a partner and have that expert guide you through not just the adoption implementation, but advice into how to better use it, better adopt it, better like grow into other subsets of the platforms. Um, so when it comes to like relationships, when you think about like those partners that you work with, what or rather, how do you feel that like trust compounds into not just your day-to-day relationship with the partners themselves, but your relationship with the client? And I don't know if you have, like, given that you mentioned that the roles mixed together 2 years ago. I
Mhm.
don't know if you have like customer facing interactions with the end client or that's full on the partner. Um, and if you don't, then how do you feel that trust and that relationship, I guess, impacts the sales process with what the partner can develop with that end client?
Yeah, so I don't usually have that interaction with the end customer unless there's something very specific where the partner would want me to kind of hop on a call and explain something about like how, let's for example, a partner seat works in a portal or something like that. And that's exactly where the trust comes into play because it's something that you have to let go, kind of like that
Mm,
relationship. Usually, yes, there's a growth specialist that or account executive that is helping the partner out on the deal. They are either leading that conversation or playing a supporting role, but they're always there alongside the partner. However, there are many conversations that happen without HubSpot in the room because HubSpot might be just a small part of a bigger implementation, but we need to
mm,
be 100% sure that the partner is representing HubSpot in the best way possible, that they have the tools that they need, that they're enabled enough to have confident conversations about how HubSpot is going to bring value to that project, to that individual implementation. So yes, 100%. Trust is central to the way that we work with partners. Um, Before the sale and after the sale during the actual implementation because we expect them to provide a, the same or better service than if they went through HubSpot onboarding with the additional benefit that they will be doing things on behalf of the partner in their portal. So it's like a white glove part. So we definitely trust our partners. We They go through a great onboarding process, and we help them. We're there every single part of the way. Either if they come in with a deal that they already have in mind that they want to sell, or they come in looking for training, support, enablement, and to set them up to be able to sell. Either way, we're there for them. We provide the support that they need. And then we're also confident that they're going to be providing the best implementation possible. And that's even reflected in in this process where partners are providing implementation of behalf of HubSpot. Like without them having that relationship with the partner, HubSpot brings in the partner and kind of tells them like, customer, you're in good hands with this partner, and they'll, we we we're confident that they're going to do a great job. So 100% centered on trust.
beautiful. I love that. I absolutely love that because it's like it's that borrowed trust or transitive trust that happens. And if you trust one side, then I guess the it's not that you're gonna automatically trust the other side, if you will, but the probability of you building a great relationships or those foundations for trust um skyrocket. So shifting gears a little bit, because dude, I have so many questions for for our listeners. Like like you have such a unique and such a cool background that that I think I would love for listeners to hear all those different hats. So moving on from HubSpot, you mentioned that between those two stints, you went off to do your own thing and you consulted multiple companies. Let's talk a little bit about that. Still focusing on trust and relationships. I guess when you think about now a different role or a different hat, not just, not the operator hat, but more like the advisor and consultant hat. How do you feel that trust and relationships uh develop in with a different role, specifically when you're advising or consulting a company and you're not there full time. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so it definitely takes time.
Mm,
But one of the most important things is to have somebody who either makes an intro or vouches for you or recommends you based on experience. And that's something that happened to me. Jose Ortiz, which good friend in common. Before he left HubSpot, he he started or he became very interested in startups and like in the startup world in LatAm. So he started building those relationships and building bridges and connecting with a lot of people in the LatAm HubSpot ecosystem. With each individual country and their ecosystem, and that allowed me via Jose to get to know a lot of these founders and you know networking, talking to them, um, bringing a lot of value to the table. And something that one of the HubSpot's co-founders, Dharmesh, always says is um, provide value before you extract value. So that was the way that I led basically every conversation. I wasn't looking to get like a contract, or I wasn't looking to get hired, or I was first the way that I did it was first try to understand their business model, like how I could help, and be very transparent about if I could help and how. And I think that led for a lot of these founders to trust me, and not, of course, I had like the Jose's backing, but I also led with, okay, those types of conversations. Sometimes I had like two, three, four conversations before I even got to talk about like my fees, for example.
mm.
And I think that told them like, yeah, this guy isn't here just to like get a quick contract and charge me a lot of money and then leave. Um, there was one specific case where the company, they wanted to continue the engagement, but unfortunately at that point in time they were low on cash, and they offered like, hey, can you would you be willing to take like part of your payment in stock? And I said yes. That I trusted them, I trusted the company, I trusted the leadership to make that company successful, and they trusted me as well. So it always goes both ways. I wouldn't ever work with a founder or with an owner, leader, however you want to call it, that I personally don't trust, or that I wouldn't like invest my money in that company. Um, so I think that they felt that coming from me as well, and that's kind of what led me to multiple engagements and multiple opportunities to work with many amazing founders, and I got to learn a lot about the industry. I got to meet many, many, many great people in the LATAM and US startup ecosystem. So, but yeah, trust, having somebody kind of write that check for you, like, yes, I trust this person. Yes, you're good working with him. Yes, because that really, it's really helpful at first to open the door, but the rest is just up to you and how you position yourself, and the way that I wouldn't like betray that person's trust by being a complete whack job,
Asshole.
and like, yeah,
You
asshole,
can
and
say
like
it.
and I didn't yeah, so that was something that I always kept in mind, like, okay, like Jose made this connection, or this person made this connection, so I have to um make it work.
Yeah. It's funny because, oh man. So episode 3, um, I recorded it with Rick Roberge, and Rick talked about how um he wouldn't do anything to anyone in his network that he wouldn't tell his grandson Bo about. And I think that,
Yeah.
Jose vouching for you, and then, you know, you not just having a personal relationship with Jose, but a professional working relationship with him, and with me. him vouching for you, him, I guess, putting his reputation on the line for you, you respecting that and understanding that, and but also saying something that, I absolutely agree with, that like I wouldn't work with anybody and like invest my time and my effort and my money, right? My
Yeah,
currency, and this is gonna sound very cliche, but again, like time is money, right?
yeah, it
And I
is.
talk
Yeah.
about this all the time. It's like, um, we spend most of our day working. So, and and that's a big chunk of our lives. So we should be doing something that is meaningful, that we like, that we love, uh that we learn from, that we enjoy, right?
Yeah.
And do it with people that we admire, that we trust, that we respect. Um, because that is a big part of life. And um it's it's very interesting how, from a different lens, you talked about how, for example, what Jose, and I don't want to put words in Jose's mouth, but what Jose was doing and is doing and has done and is basically, building his network and caring for his network and caring for relationships, basically the same the same thing that you're doing, the same thing that
Hmm.
I'm trying to do as well. And it's funny because I guess everything comes back to that. Like,
Hmm.
if you are able to, build those relationships genuinely, and like David Torres, my manager at HubSpot and great friend today, um, he taught me the same thing, but what you said about Dharmesh, but in a different perspective, if you will. It's like you need to add value, right, to these businesses. You need to add value to build
Hmm.
trust.
Hmm.
And when these businesses trust you and trust the company, and then trust that you are sort of like the person and the company and the team that understands their, not just the problems that they're looking to solve, but also you understand their business, you understand their ambition, you understand what they are as professionals. There is only then is the time and moment when, they sign a contract, and
Hmm.
you begin a contractual professional relationship with that company. So I think it's incredibly special, and it's funny because we moved from operator to, to a different role as an advisor, as a consultant, and I feel that like the role changed, but sort of like the underlying like mission and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but this is what I'm feeling. What like fuels you to care and to build trust really doesn't change. And I think that is very, very freaking powerful.
Yeah, and even with paying customers today, like these are companies who pay a subscription. They either um, buy software, which enables them to be part of the partner program, or they buy, uh, well, not yet, but they're going to eventually buy a partner SKU that allows them to be part of the solutions partner program. Even when they're paying and I am assigned to them, I still need to earn their trust
Mhm.
because they're not just going like they're not. I'm not going to take that for granted and like say, okay, you have to value me and or you have to get amazing insights out of our calls just because I work at HubSpot and I'm assigned to your account. That is 100% not the way that I look at that relationship. I've had partners saying like I couldn't even remember. I worked. I had a partnership. I'm also part of the partner program in this company, and I don't even remember their name because they're just there to like answer questions about my billing and my contract, and that's it. Like they don't care. They don't reach out. They don't. They don't. They're not concerned about me not performing well. Like they don't care. Maybe the metrics are different. Maybe the way that the partner program is structured at HubSpot makes us um, be more engaged with our partners, but that even that doesn't really buy. the relationship building part and the trust building part, because without that, they're not going to care about what you say. You can show them, you can invite them to workshops, to um consulting sessions, to whatever, and they're not going to show up, they're not going to care, they're not going to even open your emails if they don't trust you. So even before, like, yes, one thing is like as a consultant, independent consultant, getting somebody to hire you. But even as, as part of the partner program at HubSpot, when I'm assigned a company and they don't have a choice, technically, um, I still have to earn their trust. And that's a central part of what I do every single day is try to understand their business, how this impacts them, how I can say something that will at least make them think about something that could improve their business in the long run. I've fortunately enough, I've worked with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of partners along. This is my ninth year overall working with HubSpot customers, partners, or that part where I worked with the startups and the companies, those years that I was a consultant myself. However, every single one of those customers was a HubSpot customer. So I never left, I never left that ecosystem. So this is my ninth year working with HubSpot customers, and I really have, something. I try to always make them walk away with something that they can do to at least improve just a little bit in their thing. And me caring, and that's kind of the feedback that I've gotten is like, okay, and maybe because I'm Latino, right? Because we in Colombia and Latin America, we're more about the relationships first and then business. Like I feel like in Europe, here in the US, people would do business with another person if they don't like them, if the money's there, and they'll just do business. Not saying that it doesn't happen in LatAm, but I feel like in LatAm is super important. It's more important, those relationships. And that's why, like in the workplace and everywhere, you really have to be mindful about how you talk to other people, how you approach them, how you even say hi to them, right? Because otherwise you're gonna come across as rude and like why didn't you say good morning, how are you today, how was your weekend? And then after all of that conversation, then say what you want. So I feel like maybe because I'm from Colombia and I value, we as a culture, we value relationships a lot more. Um, Even though I am from Bogota and we're known for being like cold and like not super friendly compared to other other regions in Colombia, I feel like overall that's something that maybe my background and the fact that I did work with LatAm customers for 4 years, partners for 4 years, kind of makes me bring that into North America, and that might be like a little change for them when they get assigned to me, and they're like, oh, you actually care. So not to say that my rest of the team doesn't do it, but it's like it's in a different way. Like I'm more like building first and then moving on. Some people like it, some people don't, and it's fine.
Yeah. It's funny because I like to joke that and what you just said, dude, is like when you build relationships, like you gotta care, right? I like to joke that it's a joke, but it's really not a joke. It's like I even met my wife through a relationship in common.
Yeah,
And a relationship that of course it's still going to today. Uh and you and I were watching that game, Japan Colombia,
yeah,
the 2018 World
six
Cup,
years
where
ago,
we
man.
lost 2-1. But that was the
Yeah.
first time that I saw her. Um and I guess that just snowballed into a beautiful relationship. Okay,
Yeah,
so shifting gears, because you've also been a founder, and it's funny because and correct me if I'm wrong. Stereotech. So you
yeah,
co-founded Stereotech. That
yeah,
pivoted into what Mavity is today.
yeah,
Stereotech used to be a professional network for like sort of a marketplace for creatives.
yeah,
I don't know if that's correct, but
yeah,
I don't know I can't remember when this happened, but you co-founded that with Tomas, and then
yeah,
uh, life took you guys your separate ways, and then I'm not going to repeat what I said in episode 2 of how Tomas and I ended up meeting each other and then working together. But so you co-founded Studio Talk. That became Mavity. Thank you for that, because I guess that ended up in Tomas and I working together, and then itogai just going from a crazy idea to something real. Um, as a founder that built a marketplace that relied on creatives as sort of like and professionals and creatives and networking and trust and relationships. As a founder, how do you feel, or what do you feel that is different from being an operator versus being a consultant versus being a founder, when you think about, and I don't like to use this word, but I can't. I was thinking of the word manufacturing, but now I think building is the better word.
Okay.
And building trust. Um, I guess walk us through as a founder. How do you think, and of what you built with Tomas and with other people? Um, how do you feel that, I guess, trust and relationships influence founder's life?
Yeah. So yes, Stereotech was that. It was kind of like a LinkedIn for the creative industries, right? And the way that evolved, it evolved into that was Stereotech initially, because Tomas and I know each other from high school in Colombia. And he was living in New York at the time. He still lives in New York. I was living in New York at the time. Of course, we're friends since back home. Blah blah blah. We saw each other all the time. He wanted to build something. He had an idea. I was brought along. We shared. So that's one of the first thing. Like trust also comes when you have mutual, um, not just like things you like, but things you want, right?
Mm,
It's you, yes, we might like the same thing, but if we don't want the same thing, like in the future, yeah, the trust might not be there because I mean, not that you're not going to trust that person. It's just like the relationship is eventually just going to go, in two separate ways. Um, with Tomas, I trust that he's like a very specific example because he's one of my best friends and like I would trust him with like the company. I would like not only put money in the company that he runs, any company that he runs, not just Mavity because of the idea. Like if he were to like leave Mavity, have an exit tomorrow, and then build something else, I would 100% without even knowing what he's going to do, trust him that he's going to do well because like I said, the way that he works, his work ethic, his grit, his personality, his background, his family, like everything that is like Tomas a part of, just makes him that like I would, and I'm not even kidding with this. I would trust him with my two kids without a doubt. Like he is somebody that I really really trust. So I mean, he's like one of a kind. But when we were working together, it first started as a music recommendation engine where you would say a city, like you would tell the engine a city and a year. So we were both very into music. We're both very into. He's a musician by trade. I am not, but I love music. I love music. I love not just music, but I love concerts overall. So I love live events. It's one of my favorite things. So having that thing in common, we brought on Christian, and then um, we started working on that engine, right? So when you gave it a city and a year, it would tell you based on your like Spotify history and like things you're interested in, a recommendation on music. So it was a music scene. So while doing research, I started talking to a lot of Berkeley students
mm,
and we started getting an insight. Tomas, we went we were at an NYU accelerator program, and they said like you have to talk to a lot of people. Like you have to talk to 100 people a week just to prove your idea. So when we were doing that, we started identifying an opportunity where the Berkeley Alumni Network, they have like this system, like a website, a platform, and it was super outdated. And the reason why it was outdated, and like it wasn't really, it was really outdated. Like people weren't like logging in, people weren't using it. And the reason why that was happening was because the alumni thought that the platform was outdated and they weren't going to use it. So it was like a vicious circle of like they're not updating it because nobody uses it, but nobody uses it because it's outdated. So we started to identify that, and like how would somebody, like they can't go on LinkedIn and say like, "Hey, I'm a guitar player. I'm looking for a gig this Friday." It that it doesn't work that way. So we started creating that portfolio, like kind of like that LinkedIn for the creative industries. Um, and that evolved into Mavity, and that the rest is history. But the first thing that we had in common was like we wanted the same thing, and we were interested in the same things. That's 100% trust. But it that evolution was like 100%. And we're saying trust a lot, and maybe that's the idea, but I 100% trust what Tomas is going to decide. And I feel like his team kind of feels the same way. If you talk to anybody, well, you do talk to people on his team. They seem like if he makes this decision, he might be wrong, but he's coming from a good place, and his decisions are always, coming from like, I'm not saying that he's always right, but the way that he sees the future of his company, is you just trust him. And that's how we kind of went from that to another thing, to the to the networking platform for creative industries, to the creative teams, which now kind of is closer to what Mavity is today.
Yeah, yeah. Man, so I couple of thoughts. Number 1, the trust element is just so critical, and what a beautiful bromance when you were just, like, talking about your relationship with him, 'cause, for people that listen to, episode 2, or my episode with Tomas, I said it. I was like, "This is what Guillermo told me." So when you were saying it, I was like, "Shit, please, he has to say it. He has to say it. He has to say it." And when you said it, I kid you not, I'll leave my 2 kids with him. I'm like,
Yeah.
"Yes, he said it. He said it. It's not something
Yes.
that I made up."
We didn't plan this.
Yeah, we
A
didn't.
hundred percent. It's
Yeah,
not planned.
yeah. Ah, that's awesome. And also, like, I think when trust is incredibly special because that is sort of like the pebble that turns into the avalanche. I think I picked a horrible a horrible analogy, but this is a good thing. Um, that ended up like you guys building an amazing company that ended up being uh, the the company that took the my vision into the itogai reality that it is today. And when I also think about HubSpot, a great partner ecosystem, of course, like nothing is perfect, but back in the day, and shout out to Peter Caputa because he started the parent program at HubSpot, but also shout out to Halligan that allowed him and trusted him
Yeah.
to to say, yeah, if you had that have that idea, as long as you continue to perform, do it. And then, similar to what Paul Rios did with HubSpot LatAm.
LatAm. Yeah.
It's all about that, dude. It's like when trust is there, when trust is not there, you gotta earn it.
Hmm.
Um, but when trust is there, I think um that is incredibly, incredibly powerful and special. Um, so last question before I let you go and before we close out. Memo, when you think about the word trust bound, what comes to mind?
I might be biased because of the inbound, and because I know you, but I might be biased also because of HubSpot, and the inbound and
That now
concept.
is called unbound.
It's now
Now
called
that
the event is called
the
Unbound.
event. Sorry, sorry,
Yeah,
sorry.
the inbound like marketing, which was like the core of what HubSpot is today. So when I think about Trustbound is generating value, either new business, new headcount, bringing investors, adding value via the connections that you have with people you trust.
Hmm,
And one of the things that I want to add is the easy, quote unquote, easy thing is to earn somebody's trust because you can say a lot of things, you can maybe show some things that you've done, but keeping the trust and like every single day that you are interacting with with you as a manager, you as a founder, you as whatever, as a husband, as a family member, whatever, you have to earn that and kind of work on that every single day. Otherwise, it's just lost, and it's one of the few things in life that I think once you lose it, it's 10 times as hard to get it back. So Trustbound also has that concept and that like kind of core value where you not only get to add value to whatever a relationship, a company, via, like I said, new business, new customers, new investors, new headcount. Um, but like what you do to keep that going and not having it be just like a one and done thing.
dude. And this is why all of these fucking episodes are completely unscripted. What a like I cannot think of a more perfect way to end this episode. It's not just about and we spent like 40 minutes talking about building, 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 and then you end up with that. It's like, yes, building is important, but maintaining it is even more important.
Yeah.
Dude,
Stay
that
tuned for
just
part two.
yeah, man. Oh man, that was the cherry on top. Memo, thank you so much for the time and for the friendship and for also not making me look untruthful when I said in episode 2 that you would leave your kids to Tomas.
Yes, 100%. And his wife. Maybe mostly because of his. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, shout out to Paolo also. But yeah, thank you. No, thank you for having me. I always enjoy our conversations and like having one additional conversation be recorded and shared. Even it's even better. But yeah, happy to be here. Always a huge fan of what you're doing. It's definitely something. It's a breakthrough, and it's something that it's again, like I said, it's hard. If it's hard to build relationships, it's hard to build trust. It's hard to keep trust. Building something that is kind of making that a platform, a service, an idea is 10 times as hard. So kudos to you, man. It's something amazing that what you're doing.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. If this resonated, pay attention to where trust has already been doing the work. That's where momentum starts. Learn more at itogai.com. See you next time. I'm Mauricio Suarez, and this is the Trustbound Podcast.